Hollywood's brightest stars, both from its golden age and more recent years, captivated the world with their talent and charisma. But behind the fame, many were trapped in a cycle of addiction, scandal, and self-destruction. Some hid their struggles behind the glitz, while others unraveled in the public eye. What really happened behind the scenes? The truth is more heartbreaking than you ever imagined. Orson Welles, an unstoppable force of creativity, didn't just revolutionize cinema. He lived on the razor's edge between brilliance and chaos. While the world marveled at his artistic genius, behind closed doors, he battled a relentless demon: alcohol. His entire life was a high-stakes balancing act, with his visionary mind constantly at odds with a habit that threatened to consume him. His charisma and ambition made him a legend, but his struggles with addiction cast a long shadow over his success. As he poured his soul into cinematic masterpieces destined for immortality, Welles increasingly turned to alcohol, seeking solace from the crushing weight of the industry and his own impossible standards. Those who worked with him saw the heartbreaking cycle firsthand: moments of electrifying genius followed by deep, crippling self-doubt and erratic outbursts, all fueled by his growing dependence on the bottle. His story is one of the great paradoxes of Hollywood, a man whose brilliance both shone and flickered under the weight of his own demons. His name is etched in film history, yet his legacy carries the haunting echo of a genius who, despite his towering achievements, could never outrun his own self-destruction. Lindsay Lohan's rise in Hollywood was nothing short of dazzling, until it spiraled into a storm of controversy, scandal, and personal battles. Once hailed as a gifted young actress with limitless potential, she soon found herself caught in a downward spiral fueled by alcoholism and reckless decisions. What started as a transition from beloved child star to serious actress quickly unraveled into a never-ending saga of public meltdowns, shocking headlines, and relentless media scrutiny. The suffocating pressures of fame, paired with the ruthless glare of the tabloids, pushed her toward alcohol as a means of escape. But what began as an occasional indulgence soon turned into a relentless addiction that took a wrecking ball to her career and personal life. Wild parties, multiple stints in rehab, and a revolving door of legal troubles became the defining themes of her story. Each moment a painful testament to the dangers of unchecked excess. The same star power that once made her a Hollywood darling became overshadowed by her self-destructive choices. Lindsay Lohan's journey stands as a cautionary tale, a chilling example of how the intoxicating highs of fame can quickly lead to a devastating downfall. Her legacy serves as a stark warning to the next generation of young stars. In Hollywood, the road from triumph to tragedy is shorter than it seems. Oliver Reed's life was a whirlwind of raw talent and reckless excess, a roller coaster ride between cinematic brilliance and self-inflicted chaos. As one of Britain's most magnetic actors, he captivated audiences with his powerful performances. But behind the scenes, his thirst for alcohol became just as legendary as his on-screen presence. Reed didn't just drink, he drank like a man possessed. From downing 20 pints of lager mixed with whatever wild concoction he could dream up to his infamous 126-pint marathon in just 24 hours, his drinking feats became the stuff of legend. And the madness didn't stop there. Bar-top handstands, public stunts, and unthinkable pranks only added to his outrageous persona. His name became synonymous with unpredictability, blending audacity with self-destruction in a way few could match. Whether he was scaling chimneys in the nude or pulling off jaw-dropping antics, Reed lived as if he were invincible. But no amount of fame or fan admiration could shield him from the toll of his own excess. With each wild night, his body paid the price, until one final round of overindulgence led to a fatal heart attack while filming Gladiator. His story remains an unforgettable cautionary tale, a sobering reminder that even the most dazzling stars can be consumed by their own vices. Oliver Reed's legend is written in both triumph and tragedy, proving that not even the most unbreakable spirits can outrun the consequences of excess. Dennis Price's life was a haunting contradiction. A man who radiated charm and sophistication on screen while battling relentless demons behind the scenes. Born into privilege and praised for his refined performances, he seemed destined for an effortless rise to stardom. But beneath that polished exterior, he was crumbling. The suffocating pressure of hiding his true identity, combined with the heartbreak of a failing marriage, drove him straight into the arms of alcohol, a solace that slowly became his downfall. What started as a casual drink soon turned into an unbreakable routine. Mornings kicked off with a gulp of Guinness, nights ended in a haze of Scotch, and in between, the man once known for his sharp wit and elegance was fading before everyone's eyes. While the public saw the poised leading man, those closest to him witnessed a heartbreaking transformation. His once commanding presence weakened by addiction, his charm clouded by despair. The very allure that made him a cinematic favorite was overshadowed by an unstoppable downward spiral. His descent into irrelevance was slow, painful, and all too familiar in Hollywood's ruthless spotlight. Dennis Price's tragic fall is a chilling reminder that behind the glitz and glamour, even the brightest stars can be swallowed whole by their own struggles. His story forces us to confront a hard truth. Fame is no shield against personal torment. Humphrey Bogart, the very embodiment of classic Hollywood cool, left an indelible mark on cinema with his razor-sharp wit and effortless charisma. But beyond the smoldering looks and legendary one-liners, a far darker struggle brewed. Behind that confident smirk was a man battling a relentless adversary, alcohol. His life was a tale of stark contrasts. On screen, he was the epitome of effortless charm, but off-screen, the bottle had a grip on him that he couldn't shake. His relationship with alcohol was complicated, sometimes a source of camaraderie, other times the cause of reckless and unpredictable behavior. Stories of his drunken antics, from showing up to set in pajamas to bizarre episodes involving stolen restaurant safes, became infamous Hollywood lore. But the excesses that once fueled his legend eventually became his downfall. His relentless drinking, paired with chain smoking, led to a devastating illness that cut his career tragically short. Even in his final years, Bogart refused to surrender to the reality of his addiction, clinging to the bottle despite knowing it was destroying him. It took a toll not just on his health, but also on his relationships and the golden reputation he had spent decades building. Bogart's legacy is a heartbreaking contradiction. An icon who defined Hollywood's golden age, but also a stark reminder of how even the most untouchable legends can be consumed by their own vices. His story is proof that fame and fortune offer no escape from the demons lurking in the shadows of success. Bernard Lee's legendary career, filled with commanding performances and timeless roles, concealed a heartbreaking battle with alcoholism. Best known as the no-nonsense M in the James Bond films, he embodied authority and strength on screen. But away from the cameras, his life was anything but stable, plagued by grief, financial hardship, and personal turmoil that pushed him toward a devastating downward spiral. Tragedy struck with unimaginable force, the loss of his wife in a horrific fire, mounting financial struggles, and even the humiliation of being mugged all chipped away at his spirit. Overwhelmed by despair, he sought comfort in the only constant that never abandoned him: alcohol. His dressing room became both a sanctuary and a prison, a place where he numbed his pain with drink, unknowingly feeding a cycle that was tearing him apart. Those who worked with him saw the tragic transformation firsthand. Once the dependable, dignified MI6 chief, Lee became a ghost of himself, often retreating behind locked doors, lost in grief and intoxication. His once unshakable presence on set grew erratic, a stark contrast to the respected figure audiences admired. Lee's story is a chilling testament to how even the most revered stars can be consumed by personal tragedy. His legacy remains a somber warning of the silent destruction addiction can bring, proof that beneath the glamour of Hollywood, even the strongest can crumble under the weight of their own demons. Peter Fonda, a cinematic rebel and counterculture icon, lived a life that teetered between groundbreaking creativity and self-inflicted destruction. He wasn't just an actor, he was the face of a restless generation, capturing the essence of rebellion on screen. But behind the free-spirited image was a man slowly unraveling, trapped in a battle with alcohol that chipped away at his brilliance. His Hollywood journey was a turbulent ride of soaring highs and crushing lows, a legacy of daring films shadowed by public controversies and reckless indulgence. Fonda's off-screen antics became just as infamous as his on-screen performances, with the bottle acting as both his inspiration and his downfall. What once fueled his artistic fire eventually dimmed it, leaving behind a career littered with missed opportunities and fractured relationships. Those closest to him saw the shift. His boundless creativity, once unstoppable, became increasingly shackled by the chains of alcohol. The very freedom that had once defined him was slipping away, replaced by a self-destructive cycle that left its mark on his health, career, and personal life. His story stands as a stark reminder of the razor-thin line between artistic genius and personal ruin. Peter Fonda's legacy is forever intertwined with the perils of excess, a sobering testament to how even the most fearless icons can be brought down by addiction. His life remains a cautionary tale, a warning that no amount of fame or rebellion can shield someone from the devastating grip of self-destruction. Barbara Payton. Barbara Payton's rise in Hollywood was nothing short of dazzling until it all came crashing down in a scandalous whirlwind of self-destruction. Hailing from a quiet Midwestern town, she skyrocketed to fame as one of the most glamorous leading ladies of her era. But behind the camera flashes and red carpet moments, her life was unraveling at an alarming rate, plagued by chaos, heartbreak, and addiction. Her relationships were a minefield of volatility, filled with shocking scandals that made headlines, violent altercations, brushes with the law, and even allegations of prostitution. As the industry turned its back on her, she sought refuge in alcohol, clinging to the bottle as a lifeline in an increasingly cruel world. But what started as an escape quickly became her undoing. Public humiliation followed her everywhere. Tabloids relished in her downward spiral. Stories of erratic behavior, being found passed out in public wearing nothing but a coat and bathing suit, and run-ins with the law only fueled her tragic downfall. The years of excess left their mark, and by the late 1960s, the once stunning starlet was unrecognizable, her beauty and career erased by addiction. Her death from heart and liver failure was the final chapter in a life that once seemed destined for greatness. Barbara Payton's story remains one of Hollywood's most chilling cautionary tales, a grim reminder of just how quickly fame can turn into infamy, and how no amount of stardom can protect against the devastating grip of addiction. Gary Busey's Hollywood career has been a wild mix of raw talent and self-destruction, an electrifying force on screen, yet a walking headline off of it. His larger-than-life presence, both in films and in real life, made him unforgettable. But behind the eccentric charm and explosive performances lurked a relentless battle with alcohol that would shape his turbulent legacy. Busey's life was a relentless roller coaster, soaring to critical acclaim one moment, plummeting into chaos the next. His ability to morph into unforgettable characters captivated audiences, but those closest to him saw a different story. A man whose creative fire was slowly being drowned by his addiction. The very thing that set him apart, his unpredictable energy, became his downfall as alcohol tightened its grip on his life. For Busey, drinking wasn't just a vice, it was an escape, one that soon turned into a prison. Public outbursts, bizarre interviews, and brutally honest confessions laid bare the reality of his struggles. Even as he attempted to turn things around, The damage left behind was impossible to ignore. His journey back to stability was littered with reminders of his darkest days, proof that even the most determined comebacks can't erase the past. Gary Busey's story is a chilling, modern-day cautionary tale, a stark reminder of how addiction can strip even the most dynamic talents of their potential, leaving behind a legacy filled with both brilliance and tragedy. His name is forever etched in Hollywood history, but not just for the reasons he once hoped. Andre the Giant was more than just a wrestling legend. He was a towering mythical figure whose presence dominated both the ring and the silver screen. At 7 feet 4 inches and over 500 pounds, he seemed invincible, a force of nature admired by millions. But behind the gentle giant's smile lurked a struggle that no amount of physical strength could overcome: his relentless battle with alcohol. His drinking wasn't just excessive, it was legendary. Tales of Andre's superhuman tolerance became part of Hollywood and wrestling folklore. He could down 119 beers in one night, polish off 40 vodka tonics without flinching, and consume more than 7,000 calories of alcohol in a single sitting. At first it was seen as an amusing spectacle, but those who knew him best watched with growing concern as his massive frame began to betray him. Acromegaly had already placed an immense strain on his body, and when combined with years of unchecked drinking, the toll was devastating. The same man who brought audiences joy as Fezzik in The Princess Bride was quietly battling chronic pain, diabetes, and the slow breakdown of his health. Even as he maintained his larger-than-life persona, the cracks were forming, leading to his tragic passing at just 46 years old. Andre's story is a heartbreaking testament to the cost of excess. Even giants aren't immune to the ravages of addiction. His legacy remains a mix of awe and sorrow, a reminder that no amount of fame, strength, or charisma can shield a person from the devastating effects of self-destruction. John Barrymore, a Shakespearean giant and early Hollywood icon, was a man of breathtaking talent and tragic self-destruction. Born into the legendary Barrymore dynasty, he possessed an unmatched command of both stage and screen, mesmerizing audiences with performances that felt larger than life. But beneath the grandeur and theatrical brilliance, his personal life unraveled in a relentless cycle of excess, driven by an addiction he could never escape. Alcohol was more than just a habit. It was his shadow, following him from his youth until it tightened its grip completely. What started as a crutch to navigate the pressures of fame soon became an unshakable dependency that poisoned both his career and his health. Once a master of his craft, Barrymore's performances grew unsteady, his commanding presence marred by the tremors of a man losing his battle with addiction. His once magnificent physique bore the undeniable scars of his downfall: chronic kidney disease, severe edema, and the telltale signs of years of relentless drinking. Though flashes of his former brilliance remained, they were increasingly overshadowed by the weight of his own demons. The inevitable decline was as slow as it was heartbreaking, dragging him from the pinnacle of stardom to a tragic, premature end that robbed the world of an irreplaceable talent. Barrymore's story remains a haunting cautionary tale, proof that even the brightest stars can be dimmed when addiction takes hold. His legacy is etched in Hollywood history, but forever tinged with the sorrow of what could have been. Hollywood's brightest stars shined on the silver screen, but behind the glamour, many faced battles they couldn't escape. Their stories remind us that fame isn't always as dazzling as it seems, and even the most legendary icons weren't immune to struggle and heartbreak. But their legacies live on, through the films, performances, and unforgettable moments they left behind. Classic Hollywood will always be filled with stories of triumph, tragedy, and everything in between.